Mitsuari Ayu was about to jump to her death. Time was running out as her hero Kamijo Toma was nowhere in sight to save her. Despite her desperate cry for help, Toma never arrived, which forced Ayu to take the final step at the edge of the power station to her doom. But why did Toma never arrive? And what is the dark story behind Ayu's descent into going completely insane? This is the tragic tale of Mitsuari Ayu, the girl who could control the minds of others. Our story begins years before the start of a certain magical index in Academy City, a place where students are experimented on like lab rats to develop crazy psychic powers, as the directors of the city are keen to use human experimentation on children in order to create more level 5 espers, ability users who rival entire nuclear weapons. But becoming a level 5 is about as rare as winning the lottery, with a 7 in 2 million possibility. Two promising students are selected as potential candidates, Shokuho Misaki and our girl Mitsuari Ayu. Both have mind-controlling powers, but only one can reach the elite rank as the strongest mental esper, meaning either Ayu or Misaki are gonna get sent to the dumpster. You can see where this is going. The girls are assigned to the Clone Dolly Ideal Laboratory, along with other female espers with similar potential. Ranked at an average level 3, Ayu has hope that one day she will achieve her dream of becoming level 5, but sooner or later that childish hope will be destroyed forever. Before Ayu turned into a psychotic edgelord, she was actually a nice person, acting as the big sister figure to the other girls at the lab, by inspiring them to follow their dreams of progressing through the levels. However, Ayu's own fantasy of becoming great was brutally crushed as her rival and later arch nemesis Misaki was chosen by the researchers instead of her. Suddenly, poor Ayu was cast to the side without her truly knowing, as her development plan was cancelled. The scientists claimed that they didn't have the budget to support one of them at the ideal lab, knowing that Ayu would likely volunteer as tribute for the other girls due to her selfless nature. And this is exactly what happened, as Ayu received the first of many L's in her life, acting as the first step of her tragic downfall. Ayu would come to regret this decision, as the paranoia and mental burden she faced from not progressing would ultimately suffocate the young girl. To make matters worse, the lab faced a shocking disaster as Ayu witnessed an out-of-control experiment involving a student named Yuri Senya, which ended up possessing one of the researchers and causing the death of one of the genuinely nice scientists Ayu was attached to, which seemingly acts as future foreshadowing for the unfortunate events that would follow. Ayu managed to stop the possessed assailant from committing any more crimes by using her mind-altering mental stinger power to stop him. The trauma from being unable to save the scientist would continue to haunt Ayu's mental state as she grew older. Ayu and Misaki are also trying to use their mental powers on you. To hit that subscribe button down below, as if I get to 30k subscribers, I'm going to make a video passionately defending fan service in anime for your entertainment. And that should be a pretty spicy one. So make sure you sub if you want to see that video. And plus, you make this cute anime girl very happy. Wait, things are actually looking positive for Ayu now. She successfully enrolls in the prestigious Tokiwadai Middle School, one of Academy City's best institutions for developing high-level espers. But since it's Ayu we are talking about, the next calamity was guaranteed to follow. Her troubles returned with a bang as Ayu became involved with a mysterious spiky-haired level 0 called Toma, as she was hunted down by a really sus bioengineering company called LSS. The president of the company wants to use Ayu's mental stinger ability to awaken the first ever esper called a beginning child, who is currently being stored in cryo, kinda like Fry from Futurama, as LSS want to use the insane power of the beginning child to put themselves above the authority of Academy City, who sealed her away because she was way too dangerous to control. Of course, their genius plan backfires, as Ayu is forced to awaken a beginning child as the girl goes on a destructive rampage, Touma and his allies managed to stop the berserk Esper, with Ayu recovering from being kidnapped. However, as Ayu eavesdropped both Touma and Seria's conversation, she is filled with feelings of insecurity, with the two deciding to use Ayu as insurance in case the beginning child wakes up and goes crazy again. Despite these words meaning no harm, Ayu felt that no matter what, she would never be good enough. Always seen as someone useful, but would inevitably be a failure no matter what. As even the biohacker LSS president went after Ayu because he was too scared to go after Misaki, only adding fuel to the fire for her inferiority complex. Ayu decided she had enough, running away without a trace as Touma and Seria attempted to find her with no luck. Since all the girls in this goddamn series loved Touma, Ayu had also developed feelings for him, despite acting like a complete brat towards him, in typical anime girl fashion. But now, Ayu needed him more than ever as she stood at the edge of the power station known as Ground Geo, desiring to end everything due to her awful self-loathing. She had a final last resort. With tears running down her face, Ayu pulled out her phone and desperately prayed that Touma would answer, wanting to selfishly pass this burden upon him at this moment. Touma was the only one who Ayu believed would come to her rescue without hesitation. Believing she was a terrible person, Ayu dialed Touma's number, but there was no answer. Maybe he was just having a massive dump or getting it on with Seria. Okay, I'm sorry for ruining the mood. I know this is meant to be serious. Turns out Touma had bumped into none other than Shokuho Misaki herself, losing his phone in the process. What a coincidence! Now making Misaki the ultimate scapegoat for all of Ayu's problems. And to make matters worse for Ayu, Misaki also started developing feelings for Touma. Who would have thought? But Ayu had no idea what was truly going on at this point in the story, as she imagined the worst case scenario. No one cared. No one cared about a troublesome failure like herself. As Ayu then took the final step and fell into the watery abyss of the geothermal power station. But don't you worry, she managed to live, cause otherwise, how would we get her Misaki hate boner villain arc if things ended here? Yep, Ayu is still around and disappeared into the shadows as she had a complete mental breakdown. She then managed to find out what truly happened between Misaki and Touma, now dedicating her very existence into getting revenge on the girl who stole everything from her. This involved three main plots that we know of, which attempted to bring Misaki to ruin. Ayu tried to complete the failed experiment back when she was young at the Ideal Lab by collaborating with a former researcher who was also there, Hojo Seigo. They planned to spread Indian poker cards across Academy City, allowing espers who use the cards to be influenced by Ayu and even being able to alter their own powers thanks to Yuri Senyu's ability to influence personal realities, hoping that this would ultimately undermine Misaki's own power in the city. But thanks to the efforts of Misaki and her allies, Ayu's plot was foiled and Seigo passed away after his fight with the 7th ranked level 5 Sogita Gunher. Ayu would blame herself for his death and stated that she no longer wished to live anymore due to her feeling personally responsible for yet another tragedy. Ayu felt no one truly tried to understand her as a person and only evaluated her worth based upon her power, which is why she truly cared about Seigo, who understood Ayu as a person. Seigo's last words to Ayu were those of encouragement to keep moving forward, even if she is a terrible person, and that will eventually lead Ayu to finding her path in life. Let's fast forward, as next, Ayu tried to damage Misaki's reputation by cosplaying as her and taking hostage a whole crowd at a sports stadium, with it being broadcast on live TV across the city. But turns out it was all just a scam uncovered by the dark side group known as Item, as it was all just an illusion. It's unclear how effective this plan actually was, but considering Misaki was asked by Academy City to act as a spokesperson for the Daiheisei Festival 1 year later, I'm willing to bet this was yet another fuck up. Can't say I'm surprised. Jeez, can Ayu take any more L's? Oh, don't you worry. Yes, she can. Let's talk about her final master plan for revenge, as she directly confronted Misaki in the present timeline. As yes, Ayu's beef with Misaki still hasn't gone away. Ayu attempts to gaslight Misaki into thinking her past memories were tampered with, tricking her into erasing the memory she had of Touma. Apparently, there can only be one Touma simp. After this fails, she attempts to destroy Misaki's memories once again as the two mental espers fight. And Ayu explains how she blames the 5th rank level 5 for all her failures. Not only was Misaki chosen to become something great instead of her, in Ayu's mind, Misaki is also responsible for Touma not being available on demand in order to stop her desperate suicide attempt. As you can see, Ayu is a highly rational person and definitely not a psycho. Misaki retaliates with her strongest attack, an all-powerful reality check with a side dish of facts and logic. Misaki states that Ayu's kryptonite is actually herself, with that terrible attitude of thinking that she can't achieve anything and is a failure for not being a level 5. Who's to say that Ayu can't rival level 5s in another way, by working hard or via some other means? Like how Touma, the lowest ranked level 0, makes no excuses and can take on anyone irrespective of level. Although I guess it does help having an OP ability negating Bat Hand as your ultimate weapon. Ayu isn't that impressed with Misaki's taught no jutsu and manages to defeat her rival with help from technology that mimics level 5 powers. I guess Ayu just proved Misaki was right all along. Just as Ayu is about to erase her foe's memories, Misaki blows the whistle Touma gave her, thinking that he will arrive to save her, while Ayu mocks her for naively believing that would ever happen in a billion years, especially considering Touma never showed up for her 1 year ago. Well, guess what? Ayu takes the biggest L of her life, as Touma does indeed arrive to save Misaki, despite him no longer having any memories of her. But that's another story entirely. Ayu was shook as hell as she could not believe her eyes, as the boy she once loved saved her bitter enemy and stopped her madness. Touma rightfully sent Ayu's ass to jail, where she belongs, and that's where she's been ever since. Who knows? It might be a blessing in disguise. If you would like to see the full story behind Misaki and Touma's tragic past and why he can't form any new memories of her, make sure you click on the video on screen right now, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.